okay, Divine. I'm running errands for my job right now, so I figured while I'm doing this, I should make this video. I've been watching some compilation videos about low effort families, and I feel like a lot of us can relate to having low effort families. And I'll do a video about low effort families later on. But right now, I really want to talk about when people weaponize your sensitivity. I've said it multiple times on this channel. I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD and I'm autistic. I'm an ADHDer. And sensory wise, I feel a lot all the time. And sometimes it's very hard to navigate through that. And growing up as a child and not understanding why I felt the way that I felt and not always being able to verbalize and pinpoint what it is that I was feeling was really, really difficult for me, because I had a family that just would say that I was faking it and that there's nothing wrong with you, or you're just too sensitive, and it as if it was like a nuisance or annoyance. And so I tried so hard to shrink myself and become low maintenance to no maintenance for people, because I felt like me being myself and having my struggles was a burden for everybody, and that I wasn't, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the, and this is just from my perspective, and anyone who was around me can say whatever they want, but from the way that I was being treated, from my perspective, I just felt like because of my sensitivities, because I was unable to regulate, because the people around me were also dysregulated, because I had these issues, I wasn't deemed as important or likable or worthy, I was just watching a video that was part of one of the compilation videos. A girl was talking about how her mother prefers her brother over her, and she said that she came to the conclusion is because they're both surface level people, and that she realized and recognized that she requires more depth when it comes to the type of relationships that she needs in her life, and her mother was unable to give that to her. And that speaks multiple volumes to me, because it's true when you're around people who are very surface, because going deep is too painful for them. I'm talking about family systems and people who like to sweep things under the rug. Those are the people I'm talking about. Like, when things happen, then we just pretend that it never happened and we just keep moving forward, right? You're just like, wait a minute, and you're probably the family member or the person in the group that's like, wait a minute. No, we're just not going to talk about this. We're not going to talk about what happened. I remember growing up, and I told y'all before, my mom's ex-husband he was a minister, but he was really, he was abusive. He was mean. He was a serial cheater. The man had a lot of problems. His first wife divorced him because he was having relations with some lady, I'm not sure how old she was. I'm sure she was a little bit younger than him, but was having relations with some other person, some other lady in the congregation of the church that they went to. So, it's like a tiger never changes his stripes. I don't know what my mom thought was going to happen when she got with the man. Oh, I can change him. No, you can't. That man is who he is. But anyways, I grew up in a family that they would get into arguments and yell, and it would just, things would break, and we would not talk about it at all. We would act we would go to church. They would sometimes have arguments before church and then go in church and put on a whole fucking show, a whole performance. Everything is cool. Oh, we're great. And I'm not saying that, that preachers and ministers and all, like, they don't have arguments and things of that nature with their significant others, but the language, the volatile language that he would use, like, he would cuss up a storm in the house, you know, and then go and talk about Jesus and forgiveness and how we should be living our lives, but was taking the money that he would get from tithe and offering and blowing it on shit that he didn't, you know, I don't really know what the money was going towards, but he wasn't helping pay no bills. So, like, you know, it's stuff like that. And it's like, my mom never really talked about, like, I don't know, like, I wish my mom would have been able to go deeper and talk about how she just really wanted to be married, how she really wanted a man, and how she was being a pick-me, essentially. Maybe she could have healed from that a little bit, because she picked a man that was a piece of shit, and everybody in her family told her that they did not like that man and that they did not want him around. And what did she do? She married him anyways, and then the relationship didn't last. But people will weaponize your sensitivity, because when you want to talk about these things, when you want to have those discussions and have deeper conversations so that you can better connect with people, some people are going to shy away from that, and that is not your fault. They're going to weaponize your sensitivity because they're incapable of being that transparent. You are a person who requires a lot of truth, and that in itself is very scary for a lot of people, because I've told y'all multiple times before, a lot of people live in a false reality that they've created for themselves. Their reality is not where the rest of us live, okay? They don't want to see things for what they are. Like, I was just telling my mother-in-law the other day, when she was telling me about how there are certain people that she's in contact with that support Trump, and how they will completely, you know, ignore the things that are happening and say, oh, that's not really happening, that's not real, that's not true, you're just listening to the liberal media, you know, just all of those, like, talking points and things of that nature, when it's like, no, these things are happening. What are you talking about? This shit is happening, and we're not gonna sit here and pretend like it's not, okay? We're not gonna sit here and pretend like this shit is not happening. So people will weaponize your sensitivity and say that you're too deep, and it's like, then you're too shallow if I'm too deep. Or they feel like you require too much, and it's not that you require too much, you just require more than these people are willing to give. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. They are not willing to give you what it is that you truly need in that relationship. I am one of those people who require something deeper than just this surface level shit. You're gonna have to be real with me. You're going to have to tell me the truth. I don't want to, like, you know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, me and my family don't talk now, because it's like, well, there's nothing to fucking talk about. I'm not interested in telling y'all what's going on in my life because you don't care. So what am I talking about? What conversation are we having right now? Like, when I started realizing that, when I started really understanding, like, I remember I used to get so excited talking to my sister, like, when she would call me, because she never used to really call me. So when I finally would hear from her, I'd be so excited, and I'm like, oh, I want to tell her about this, and that. And I started realizing, anytime I started talking, she would change the subject, or you could tell that she just didn't want to hear it. Why? Because that's not what she was calling for. She wasn't calling to hear from me. She was calling to use me for whatever it is she needed to use me to, as someone who would listen, because that's what a lot of people will do. A lot of people will use you as the person who listens because you're a very good listener. That's one thing they'll use. That's another way that they weaponize your sensitivity. They'll utilize you for being the person, the empathetic person that you are, but when it comes down for you needing the same type of empathy in return, they are unwilling and unable to give that to you because they're afraid of going deeper. They're afraid of going deeper. I think I may have made this video. I can't really remember, but I was making a video. I think I deleted it. But I was making a video about people trying to come back in your life. And just recently I had a friend a former friend, tried to add me on Instagram. Now, those of you who've been watching my channel know that I don't post on social media. YouTube is about the only place that I post anything at this point. I use my social media as like a way of like, I'm not on it all day anymore. Like, I'm not interested in it. But two, I really just use it as a means to just see what's going on in the world, to gauge where people are at, to find funny content, things of that nature. You know, sometimes I just need a good laugh. But I had a former friend try to add me on Instagram again, and I guess this is like a new page for her or something. And I had started thinking, I was like, when's the last time I even spoke to her? It's been at least 5 years, right? It's been like 5 years since I've spoken to this person. And the way that she disconnected from me was just, it was out of nowhere. Like, I was one of her only friends that was honest with her. A lot of her friends, in my opinion, would set her up for failure, or they were like her yes men. You know, and I'm not one of those people, okay? I will never be a yes man in any of my friendships. None of my, like, if that's what you're looking for in a friend when it comes to me, you are going to be sadly mistaken. You're not going to get that from me, okay? Like, I'm not going to be able to sit here and pretend like I don't see what's going on. Now, I'll give you some grace, and I may not bombard you with a whole bunch of, hey girl, you need to be doing this, and that. Like, I'll give you some grace, but at the end of the day, what I'm going to do is I'm definitely not going to sit back and let you sabotage yourself without me at least giving you my 2 cents and being like, hey, I'm telling you this because I love you. And I'll say it in a loving way, but I'm telling you this because I love you and I want better for you. And that's what I used to do to her. And I supported her even through a relationship that was no good for her, that was all types of messed up. She was with a married man who left her, had her going to the psych ward over her trying to hurt herself over this man that was, when I say was no good, he was no good. I mean, I guess, whatever he was working with in the bedroom was great, but I'm sorry, there's not a piece of sex out there that is that valuable to me that I would risk my mental health over. But that's the type of shit she was on, and she tried to send me a friend request like it was nothing, like she could just come back, because like one day she just deleted me off of all her social media. She didn't say nothing to me after I had helped her. When she went to the hospital because of that whole incident, I made sure that she kept her job. I made sure that HR got her the paperwork that she needed so that she could, so that when she was ready to come back, that her job was waiting for her. Her family was like very, 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 very grateful. They were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like, she needs more friends like you. And so it just was crazy to me, because even like we had met through a mutual friend, and even the mutual friend was like, I don't know what her problem is. She needs to get her shit together. And so, after all of that, you would think that she would have caught on to seeing that. But it's like, when you have low effort people in your life, like, they'll never take accountability for the things that they need to be doing. Okay? They'll never take accountability. So you have to be the one that is going to do everything. And if you have to do everything, this is not a relationship. You don't get to just come back out of nowhere. Like, I didn't forget what it is that you did. You cut me off like I did something to you. My cutoffs always have a reason behind it. But she cut me off because she knew what she was doing was fucked up. And she knew that I was going to hold her accountable all day, every day, regardless of how she felt. So, don't let people weaponize your sensitivity. They'll try to say that you're taking things too personally, and that you're being too serious, and it's not that bad. It's not as bad as you think it is. And don't listen to these people, because at the end of the day, this shit's just not true. The shit is like, these people want you to feel like the way that you feel is wrong, and the way that you feel isn't wrong. You just feel things differently, and you need to be around people who understand you and feel you on a different level. Okay? I love y'all. It's your girl, K Divine, and I'll see you later. Bye.